We're not Disney adults. We're just adults that like Disney.
We're not haters. We just have opinions.
We're not cat ladies, but we are childless. We're two entertainment creatives exploring culture at the intersection of fandom and our professional careers.
I'm Kaylin.
I'm Jacob.
And this is The Childless Millennials.
When it's somebody's birthday.
I'm already laughing. You looked at me so intently.
When it's somebody's birthday,
okay,
and you're singing happy birthday,
okay,
do you sing it well or do you intentionally sing it badly?
Stand by.
Hello, everyone. I'm taking
He's
over.
taking over. So what's your answer to the question?
I started doing this thing where I sing intentionally incredibly well and very loud.
Okay.
And I make everybody uncomfortable.
Why is that your choice?
I don't know, actually. Because I'm not that kind of person that's like, give
You're
me the
really
spotlight. I think the first time I did it was my friend Christina's birthday. And we were like out at a restaurant.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, happy birthday! And
dead.
The entire restaurant like looks over. Sorry, you weren't ready. So
we're doing your icebreaker without you.
Just the entire restaurant looked at us, and then she did love it.
Yeah.
So it was a whole bit. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled program.
Oh my God.
So
Anyway,
I actually sing very quietly.
Okay, that's what you do.
Yes. So, well, it depends. So, like, if it's a singer's birthday and there are all singers there, like Sarah, like when we were like Sarah Nemitz's birthday party, like
then you pick
it
a
was,
harmony,
12-part harmony, like we matched vibrato, like it, that's different, right? Like that's a different environment.
Yeah.
But if it's just like one of my non-performer friends, or like I'm in a group of non-performer friends, I'll let somebody else start it, and I'm like, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Because I have that, like, all of my friends know that I'm a singer, so I don't want to be that person who's
right, because then it draws attention.
I'm a singer.
I know.
Yeah.
I just was like, this is random things that I'm like, oh, I have to ask Kaylin that. I would forget where we were, but I was like, I intentionally go like, happy birthday to
So you like sing bad on purpose
because then I blend in. Like
so you're saying everyone around you is a terrible singer?
No, like if you're at one of those events where there's like dads and grandpas and like no, you know what I mean? Like, that like cacophonous happy birthday.
Yes, there's not a key to be established.
Yeah, like you can't like
we actually didn't decide if we're calling the person by their name or their nickname. So like half of the group says Bobby, and then the other people say Robert, and then like 2 people say Bob, like that kind of thing. Like we did not establish the rules.
Yeah, or like the girl at the thing that I didn't know her name, so I was just like, happy birthday, dear.
Watermelon.
Classic.
Classic.
Yeah. Do we want to start this off with my
Superfan moment of the week?
Yeah.
We were walking to sushi.
Okay.
And this guy started staring at me. And then he goes, I love you. I love your content. And then disappeared into the night. So I was someone else's super fan moment of the week.
I hope they listen to our podcast.
Well, that's what I wanted to say. Which content?
Yeah. maybe YouTube.
Not OnlyFans. My feet.
They actually subscribe to Oreo's Only Beans.
Oh my gosh. Can you...
Her Only Beans account.
Did you see... Oreo's video of me putting the food in the freezer.
I did. And then Oreo commented on my video with my dogs.
Who are they?
Who are they? We should put a screenshot of that. She said, who are they?
Yeah. Excuse me?
I was like, they're your cousins on your aunt's side.
Yeah. But that was a really cool moment. Love to be appreciated.
Yeah, absolutely. I hope they listen to this.
I hope they do too.
And
I was
tell us
hoping
who
they
you
would
are.
slip into the DMs and be like, oh my gosh, it was so nice to see you on the street. Anyway, but no, my big superfan moment of the week was that we were invited to a screening of Wicked,
Okay.
hosted by John Powell.
I saw the picture that you guys
Yes.
had with John Powell.
Yes,
Yeah.
who did the score for the movie, which
Yes.
is not to be confused with Stephen Schwartz, who wrote the songs.
Right.
And he was, I mean, he's so funny.
Is he?
Oh yeah, he like stood up and he was like, well, when people, or he's like, or he started, he goes, I didn't know what the fuck Wicked was. That was like
Stop.
the first thing he said. And then he said that when he got offered the movie, he like turned to, they're not married, right? They're just dating together, to his girlfriend, Holly. And he was like, Wicked, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, her face just like was melting. And I was like, oh, I guess there is like something here.
Yeah.
So, and then he actually, when I met him randomly that one other time, he said that like he told Stephen Schwartz, he was like, I've never seen Wicked, which is just crazy because he did such a like great job honoring the.
He really did.
Yeah, which is
The music that he wrote is so good.
and it does not feel like a non-fan. Like he,
No, it fits the tone so well.
it shows how well he did like diving into
Yeah.
the. I hope he wins the Oscar. But so then he was like, when I heard these sing-alongs were happening, I was like, that sounds horrible. And he was like, if you know me, I have like a tuning thing. If I hear things that are out of tune, he's like, it actually hurts my teeth.
Oh. He does not
Yes.
like when you sing badly during
leaves the
Happy
room.
Birthday. John is like, oh, I actually need to use the restroom and dips.
Yeah. So he was like, so I thought, why not have like all the best like singers in the world? He said, come and sing Wicked, and of course, like, so we're in like the front row.
Okay.
It's like me, Connor, and our friend Emily, who's gonna come on the pod at some point. And like no one, they also gave all the session singers had the music,
Okay.
like from the movie. So everybody, like these singers are like in the music, like picking
Finding
out
their
the harmony
parts, yeah.
And we're in the front row, like no one mourns the Wicked, like screaming. And then the number ends, and Emily's like, "Are we the only ones singing?" Because we were like giving the musical. We were
Yes.
giving Denny's musical theater kids after
a
opening
show.
night.
Yep.
And but we really warmed up that crowd. They really were screaming along by the end.
Perfect.
But it was so fun. And then we got to chat with John Powell for a little bit after,
Yeah.
and I expressed how much I loved the way that he like interpolated. Is that the word? For good into
Yes.
like, and he was like, "Well, did you hear this? Did you hear this?"
Ooh.
Yeah, and he was telling us some other little
Not giving you
nuggets.
some little
in
Easter
his-
eggs.
I know.
That's cute.
Yeah. So that was, and he seemed to really appreciate our like specific knowledge of his
The music.
score.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was just really cool and really sweet and unassuming, and in this really cute green witch please made out of like
Stop.
bubble. Did you Holly clearly made it for him out of like bubble paint
No way.
that said like witch please, like giving like
Yeah.
ASB like pep rally.
Yeah. I'm obsessed with that.
Yeah, it was so sweet, and it was just it was a cool little like
That's very cool.
little event.
I love that.
So that was my super fan moment of the week.
Congrats.
Wicked just continues.
Wicked is never stopping. Well, they actually said that the other day. I think it was Ariana that said essentially, I don't remember, that like basically the press tour like just doesn't end. Like they don't get a
Yeah.
break until part 2.
Right.
Like there's
Because-
no like stopping.
Which they are not performing at the Oscars. There was like a rumor.
I don't
and
know.
then
There
they
was this
quenched
whole
it, but I was like,
thing.
they have to perform at the Oscars.
There was this whole thing that was like Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo are opening the Oscars with a medley from Wicked, and then like the next day or 2 days later, Cynthia Erivo was like, "That's not happening."
Which is she just covering her
I
tracks?
don't know.
Or like,
I don't know.
I need it though.
If it wasn't in the plan when that rumor was started, they better have started
Yes.
working on it immediately. That's all I have to say.
Yeah.
Because what?
I mean, one of them has to, but I guess
Yes.
there's no best song,
No.
but still like, we got a whole like Barbie
Yeah.
thing.
Theory though denies that
Yeah.
is happening.
Yeah. weird though.
Yeah, I know.
Because she's actually like, psych, Zoe Saldana's opening with Amelia Perez.
Shut.
Can you imagine? They're like, welcome to the Oscars telecast. And she just like, it's like a backstage shot of she's like walking from the street into the theater. And she's like,
I'd like to know about sex change operation.
That's how the Oscars should start.
She's walking through like the back of the theater.
Yes, like with the text.
The text. She just goes up to like a stagehand. Penis to
vagina. And then she's like, "What's up, Los Angeles? Welcome to the Oscars."
When she gets to the stage, lights up on Selena Gomez thrashing around in the bed.
Yeah.
It's a medley now.
What was it? And what's the word that they're saying? Something plasty?
It was
Penoplasty?
vaginoplasty, penoplasty. They named all the plasties.
Screaming.
She's actually just going to go through the audience and point at people and say what surgeries they've had done. That's the opening of
She's like the Oprah of the Oscars. She's like, you get a penoplasty. You get a
rhinoplasty for sure.
That movie is...
That's our TikTok for that.
Yeah. Period. I don't even remember where we were with...
I don't know. We love John Powell.
Was great. John was...
Yeah, right?
Yeah. John was...
Yeah.
He was just
I love
awesome.
John Powell. His music is so good.
So good.
Okay, so I had an idea for the theme of today's episode.
Beautiful.
So we have like over the past few months started watching like a lot of the same TV shows.
We have. There have been some overlap.
Yes, like some have been influenced by you two. Some are just like, we just happen to be watching the same things. And now we have this like group chat about one of the shows that we watch. So I thought we could talk about TV shows.
Great.
Yeah. And I think let's start off, because it's over. It's not currently on, but let's start off with like the TV show that we started watching together, which is Real Housewives of Salt Lake City.
The Real Housewives of Salt Lake, which I avoid. I hated Housewives for years and years. My roommate Ben would watch it constantly, and I felt like it melted my brain. But the Salt Lake girls got me.
Yeah. Same, like not exactly the same, but I never watched Real Housewives. I watched the first, I think, 2 seasons of Atlanta, like when it came out, like originally, and then just like never really caught up with it, never followed any of the other franchises. And then you two I think you had recommended Salt Lake City to me. Our friend Diedrich recommended Salt Lake City to me.
He watches?
Diedrich is actually the one, like we were having a conversation about like growing up religious and like leaving the church and things like that. And he was like, bitch, you have to watch Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And this was pre-season 4 when he told me to watch it.
I am so invested in the Salt Lake girls. Like,
hooked immediately.
I'm obsessed. Also, a really big disagreement. I love Heather Gay. I love her. Now I'm a little behind. But I love her. I love her as a mom.
Yeah, so let's do this. Let's start with season 5 because it just ended, and we just watched the reunions together and everything, and then we'll work our way backwards because you actually have watched the seasons pretty completely out of order.
Oh, I basically on shuffle.
Yes, just basically was like, this looks good, and started it, and then moved on, and then went back, but then came back to the new.
Right.
There's been a lot going on, so let's start with season 5.
Okay.
Season 5. You like Heather in season 5?
She's not much of a player in season 5.
No, she does nothing in season. She actually has no storyline in season 5.
Season 5
whatsoever.
She's
a shit stirrer in season 5.
I don't. Compared to some of the other girls, are you kidding?
The game at the end?
Oh, yeah.
Let's show each other the text messages of the meanest things we've ever said about each other.
That to me is like when you're watching Drag Race and there's somebody that's like, so what do y'all like think about blah, blah, blah? Like to me, a producer was
it's definitely produced.
And so she was probably like, I'm the one that'll do it.
Yeah, even if it's produced, her function in the season was to be a shit stirrer. And you know that's true.
I don't think that's shit stirring.
That absolutely is shit stirring.
I don't know.
Everybody got a fight.
I was kind of obsessed with the game.
Oh, it was incredible entertainment. Please no, I'm not saying she's a shit stirrer like as a pejorative. Like these shows have to have shit stirrers. Like Whitney's a shit stirrer.
I think that Heather really is striving to get to the other side of things. Like I feel like she genuinely is rooting for the group to like support each other and like be a family.
Yeah.
I earnestly, like I do believe that.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think I agree. Just because she says stuff on the show and then contradicts it on the after show when nobody
I don't
is
watch
around.
the after show.
Yeah, so like there was like the whole like scene on the boat with Bronwyn where Bronwyn was talking about like her relationship and like past infidelity and like all that and like sharing with them like more about her relationship with Todd. Like Heather was super supportive of her on the show around everybody, and then on the after show basically said the opposite. So to me, I'm like, girl, what? And like the after shows are filmed at a different time.
Yeah.
So it could like her opinion could have changed. It just wasn't like a good look to me.
What was
if
she
that
saying
makes
on the
sense.
after show?
Like not supportive of her and like I can't remember exactly what she said, but it was a direct contradiction to what she had said on the show. Like if on the show she was like, I support you. I think that like, you know, you're so brave and you're so strong for getting this out there. On the after show, she was like, yeah, I think she was looking for attention.
Can two things not be true?
I mean, that's not the way she said it though.
Okay,
you know what I'm
okay,
saying?
sure,
like,
sure.
like in the moment was very different than the after show.
What
so
I'm
to me,
hearing-
I'm
what
like,
I'm hearing is
it's
that you
giving
think-
two-faced.
What I'm hearing is that you're Team Bronwyn, and that's just really the problem. With
I
Heather.
am Team Bronwyn. I am Team Bronwyn in every argument ever. I'm obsessed with Bronwyn.
I hated her the first half of the season, but I do love her on the show.
I am obsessed with her. From the very first moment when her and Mary were talking shit,
Oh, yeah.
and like, what's her face said something about her costume, and they were like, not a costume. I was hooked. I love Bronwyn.
Yeah, she's been a great addition. I will say, like, if you are listening to this and you're like, I don't know who any of these people are, the thing about Salt Lake to me that is more interesting than the other shows is that like it started later, right? Like it's only 5 seasons in. So to me, why it's easier for me to watch than something like New York is because they knew exactly what they were signing up for. Like they are all business women. You know what the Housewives is, and they clearly all went, I'm in. And I want to promote my business.
There is a game to it, right? Like it's
Yes.
not a reality TV game show like a Survivor or a Big Brother, but like there is a game to Housewives of getting screen time, of getting your storylines out, of promoting your business, like being on a Housewives franchise can literally change your life.
Right.
And we've talked about that with Bronwyn specifically, that like people are theorizing that she's on the
using the show
show
to, like,
get out of her marriage in some way, shape, or form. So like we know that people have done these things and there is a game to it. And I agree with you. I think that everybody on Salt Lake City from the first season was like, we understand the game and we're willing to play it.
And being rich is not interesting to me, which is also what I always associated the Housewives with. Like, but they all come from something that is not.
Yeah.
So like it's more interesting. Like Bronwyn now married a man that is freaking loaded, you know, but like was a single mom.
Yeah, it was like a teen mom and had a child out of wedlock.
Yeah, so like that is way more interesting to me that and then the religious aspect of it is like so fascinating too, because
Mormon 2.0.
it's and I also like sometimes the way they talk about Salt Lake, it almost feels like it's a different country.
It kind of does,
Because I just got to now to just catch people up. I think that I was dating you during season 3.
Okay.
I think maybe.
Yeah, but you were not watching.
But I was not watching it, but it was like kind of on.
Okay.
Ish.
Bits and pieces
Okay.
And be
then season 4, he like forced me to watch, but I like half paid attention for like the first half of season 4. And I like loved to make fun of Monica.
Okay. I was gonna say you started with Monica's season, which is wild.
Then we get to the Last Supper. Jesus on the beach. That's Oh, when she was on the beach and she was like, I have something to tell you, and the wind is like
Heather?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
That's why you love Heather.
Oh yeah. That's why I love Heather because of that. Because when she was like, receipts, proof, screenshots, I was
timeline.
like, let's fucking go. Like it was also like peak like my like personal work drama that I was dealing with. So I was in a big justice porn phase of like anytime justice was served, I was like, yeah. And now I went back to season 1.
Yes. So you watched
no clue who
season
Jen Shaw
4,
was when I started.
which is insane.
No clue who Jen Shaw was.
So you watched season 4, then went back.
Yes.
And in the middle of watching seasons 1 through 3, season 5 came out.
Yes.
Right? You had not caught up on season.
So I was
you're
watching
currently
season
in
5
season
and
2.
season 1 simultaneously.
This is insane.
Absolutely,
to me.
absolutely insane.
This is unhinged.
Oh, yeah.
We could have a whole podcast just about your concurrent watch
Well, because then
of the Real Housewives of Salt Lake City multiverse.
My first memory of Mary is the scene when she's on the Sprinter van and she's like, "Can you go through McDonald's?" And I was just like, "Why is she on the show? She's so uninvested.
Yeah.
She's not." And then I
So
was watching.
when you saw that, you had never even seen the clips of them like, well, she married her grandfather.
No clue.
Like, no idea.
You mean Mary or fucked her grandfather? Yeah, no. No.
Okay.
So then I started season 1, and like I will say though, there was something about like knowing what happened to Jen that I loved.
Yes.
To hate
So I had
her.
never seen any of it, but I did know what happened with Jen Shaw.
Yes.
Like prior to watching the show, that like somebody had told me that.
Yeah.
So I didn't know when or how or what, like, but I knew that was gonna happen. And I will say, I do think it enhanced my watching experience.
Oh, totally. 'Cause
Like
you just
waiting
know
for
karma is
the
around
shoe
the
to drop
corner.
on her
Oh, yeah.
and seeing all of her antics and knowing where it's gonna end up was really entertaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So last night because of course season 5 is now over, but we're in season 2. We finished the last episode, and then it's like coming up. Whitney, her VO, coming up, and it's the Sprinter van of Jen going, I have to go when the FBI raids. And I was like, we have to. And Connor was like, no,
We can't.
we can't. He was like, it's 1:45
Like, we
in the
have to
morning.
go to sleep.
But that was the next episode.
So I know what you guys are doing tonight.
Oh, the moment you leave. Yep. Yeah. So
Okay.
Housewives is absolutely delicious.
Okay, before we move on, I have asked so many people this, and I need to decide right here and now. I will not leave this room until we decide what franchise should I watch next.
So I don't watch any other one, so I don't know.
I've been told New Jersey. I've been told Beverly Hills. I've been told Potomac. Lots of suggestions have been thrown out.
Potomac was good at one point. I think Beverly Hills is, you know what? You live in LA. Beverly Hills is not escapist. The way Salt Lake is to me.
Okay.
Right? Like
Interesting.
Beverly Hills, you're like, it's LA. We deal with LA people.
Yeah.
They are so LA. The drama is almost off the camera because they're all doing the LA thing on camera.
Okay.
So it's not escapist as much as like
Salt Lake is.
that's what I love about. Yes.
Yeah,
do you
Connor's
do-
the Housewives expert.
Hello, everyone. Producer Connor here. My honest opinion is that Salt Lake City is the best
Yes.
of the franchises. So
That's
you have
why
to
I'm
know
nervous.
that going in that like the next one you watch will not be as good as Salt Lake. That said, the first like 5 seasons of Potomac are top tier.
Okay.
Fantastic. It fell off for me a little bit. I'm hoping that it resurges, but the first several seasons of Potomac are great.
Okay.
There are some really great nuggets in Beverly Hills, specifically in the first season.
Okay.
It is a very different vibe than Salt Lake City because these are not business women that are
Right.
like trying to promote their brand. They are like legit housewives.
They're legit housewives.
So it is much more about like the wealth and the drag of that. But specifically, the dinner from hell, I want to say it's episode 9, season 1.
Okay.
What?
Don't talk about the husband.
No.
Oh, okay.
That's a great fight too. But no, this is like the OG housewives fight
Okay.
that like made them the dinner scenes. Like, this is where we're going to hash out our drama.
Yes.
And it's like Camille.
Zach the other day, like he walked in while I was watching. He's like, "Why are they always at dinner?" I was like, "Because that's where the drama happens."
That is where the
like,
drama happens.
always.
And it's because of episode 9, season 1
Of Beverly Hills. Okay.
Where she invites a psychic. Camille is hosting a thing. She invites a psychic over, and the psychic is like reading the girls. And she
Okay.
like looks dead at Kyle, and she's like, "Your husband will never satisfy you." It's fucking crazy. Anyway, so I do recommend Beverly Hills, but there's so many seasons of it.
It's been on forever.
And it's a little slow right now. It's in a slump.
Okay.
But so I recommend Potomac.
Potomac.
Yeah.
Okay. It's going to be Potomac then. I'm doing it. Let's switch gears to another TV show
Okay.
that you both recommended to me. Housewives. Segue. The Traitors.
Traitors, so good. This is my first season of Traitors, season
Same.
3. I just love how fun it is, and I love how simple it is.
It's so fun. I think the idea of getting a bunch of reality TV stars together to do a reality TV competition is so fun.
so fun.
Alan,
Oh, the first
No,
the first reality host to unseat RuPaul is Emmy winner.
really? I didn't know that.
Yes.
like the last 10 years.
Yes,
That's
he
incredible.
won best reality television show.
Incredible.
host because he is acting
He's
his
so
his
good.
tail off.
It's so camp, but in like a way that like is so authentic to him, if that makes
he's
sense.
just
like
so committed
his
to the bit,
outfits, like his whole, like he's
Yeah.
so committed. I love it so much. I am only on episode 2. So what just happened is, spoilers for anybody who hasn't seen this season. Dorinda is the first one that they kill.
Okay.
Kill, I'm using air quotes. Which obviously I've never seen her season of Housewives, but like I texted my friend and I was like, wait, I think I love Dorinda. Like, and I was like low key gonna watch her season of Housewives. Was she Jersey?
I don't know.
I don't remember. But I was like, oh, okay, well, I like her. And then boom, she's gone. It was,
So
yeah,
so funny story, and I'm not even shitting you.
yeah.
I started with episode 4 of The Traitors. Started with episode 4.
Jacob.
And then Lyndon came over, and I was like, so let's restart. So then I watched episode 1 and 2. Then episode 5 came out, and then I watched
What is wrong with you?
I don't know.
The Traitors, he was committed to just starting from 4 to the end.
Well,
Then things changed.
because I think that he like had started The Traitors, and I wasn't like really into it.
Yeah.
And
I started by myself.
Yeah, and I was like, it was on in the background. I was kind of like meh, but then I love Bob the Drag Queen.
Bob the Drag Queen is like one of my favorite like celebrities ever.
I am obsessed.
Yes.
With Bob.
Wait, I actually wrote down a quote that Bob said in episode 2 so that I could.
Misguided. Oh wait, no, you haven't gotten there.
No, it was it's like when they're first up in the turret, like deciding who they're gonna murder, and Danielle and Carolyn are arguing. And in Bob's confessional, he was like, I'm a drama queen, so I'm just gonna sit back and let them hash it out. And I was like, period, Bob, that's me.
Yep.
I'm like, oh, you guys are fighting? Cool, have fun. I'll just be here. Like, I love Bob the Drag Queen.
Love
And
Bob.
I don't know if I've ever told you guys this, but I know we've like talked about playing D&D. If you haven't, you have to watch Dungeons and Drag Queens.
Love Dungeons and Drag Queens.
Have you watched it?
Never even heard of it.
You have to watch Dungeons and Drag Queens. It's Bob the Drag Queen, Monet Exchange,
Okay.
Alaska Thunderfuck, and Jujubee playing Dungeons and Dragons.
Amazing.
In full drag.
Amazing.
It's incredible. You have to watch it. Season 2,
Amazing.
I think just finished.
Is it a YouTube series or is it a
I think there are a couple of episodes on YouTube, but it's specifically on a streaming service called Dropout TV. I'll give you my password.
Okay.
Is it the same game in season 2?
No. Yes, it's the same characters. They're playing all of the same characters from season 1, but they're in a different location now. So it is a continuation of season 1. They're all playing the same characters.
I love it.
Bob the Drag Queen. Obsessed.
Love Bob. So I was like, oh, I'll watch like an episode because I love Bob.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched like an iconic episode for Bob. And I was like, well, now I have to watch the whole thing. And then Lyndon is like a huge reality television person.
Okay.
So then I was like, oh, you should watch The Traitors. And then we watched the first episode, and every single person, he's like, is that Tom? Is that this person? He knew the
knew all
entire
of them.
cast.
Yeah.
Was telling me the history of everything.
Yeah.
To the point where then he went home and he started from the beginning of the series, binge the entire first season.
Like in a week.
Yeah.
So he was
Like
really
maybe like 2 days.
Yeah.
He's like absolutely insane for the Traitors.
It's so good.
Yes.
And like, I don't know most of the people on the show because I'm not a big reality. Like, I don't watch Survivor. I don't watch Big Brother. And a lot of them are from those shows. Or like The Challenge. The Challenge is apparently a show that exists that some of them are from.
Yes. The Challenge, I learned, is a combination of Real World and Road Rules.
Oh.
And then they combined
Interesting. Like old school, like MTV.
old. So Real World, this is my history lesson on reality television from Lyndon Puetta. So Real World was like, I never watched it. It was apparently like revolutionary.
Okay.
Did you know this?
No, I
Because
never watched
basically Real World was just like putting like 10 strangers in a house, but then like really serious conversations would come up.
Okay.
And like, and then Road Rules.
It was like the original.
Yeah. Like it's, if you think it's literally like putting 10 people in a house.
Yeah.
Like,
And just like filming it and see what happens.
Yeah. And then Road Rules was like a competition show. And then they made a new show combining the two. And it was only people who had been on either.
Okay.
And then it was Road Rules the Challenge, I think. And then they, bless you, Oreo. And then they like, they ended up dropping just the Road Rules and they made the Challenge.
Okay.
And that's what, so it's like a legacy
Okay,
of
that's so
reality
interesting.
TV
Okay.
people. Oh, but also why I was hooked on The Traitors is because the one and only season I have ever seen of Survivor was Boston Rob's first season.
Oh, okay. So like you knew.
So I like knew Boston
Yeah.
Rob. Yeah.
I don't know any of that. I don't know any of the Survivor people. I know Bob the Drag Queen, obsessed. Chriselle from Selling Sunset.
Matthew
which
Morrison's ex-fiance.
Which I didn't know until you told me that. I love Chriselle. Like
Yeah, awesome.
she's my favorite on. Have you guys watched Selling Sunset?
No.
I love Selling Sunset.
Okay.
Like I love it. The drama is really good. But they're all really rich because they're like real estate agents in LA, but like they do work for their money. So it's a little different than like a housewives situation. And the houses are just insane. Like
Amazing.
it's like watching like house porn on like HGTV, but then also with like the reality TV drama and like these women who are just like dressed to the nines, right?
Yeah.
And like stealing commissions and like it's really good.
I thought Selling Sunset was like literally just like a boring HGTV.
Oh
like,
no,
there's drama. Oh,
there is
my
drama.
God.
Like
Period.
2 or 3 of them have like fucked the owner of the brokerage. Like it, like at some point on or off the show. Like it's drama.
Period.
Yeah, no, you have to watch Selling Sunset.
okay.
So I knew Bob the Drag Queen. I knew Chriselle. And then Gabby, who I've never watched The Bachelor, but I know Gabby from TikTok, which I sent you guys the TikTok. She is so insane to me. She's so funny. I don't know if it's a bit or if it's like her real personality, but I also wrote down a quote that she said on the show so that I could read it. She said, "I love goat cheese and I love talking shit." And I said, "Correct, Gabby. That's correct.
So
that's
dumb.
me. Scene."
I love
So
it.
those are the only 3 people that I knew, but like that was enough to convince me to watch The Traitors.
And Dylan Efron. Zach's brother.
Is that who that is?
Yes, they look identical.
I don't think they look identical.
Listen, I'm going to quote Connor Smith. Talk about the tortoise outrunning the hare. Because Zach was the hot one. And Dylan was like the outdoorsy brother that it was like, you know, it's the classic like, oh, the hot guy has a brother.
Okay.
But now Dylan has
I mean, he's a good looking guy,
Yeah,
for sure.
And the vibe is just there. He's so accessible.
Okay. Yeah.
I cannot believe you did not know.
I didn't know that.
That's Dylan
And then I
Efron.
did know of Tom Sandoval, but I've never
okay.
watched Vanderpump Rules, but
Yeah,
I knew
yeah,
who
yeah,
he
yeah.
was. He's such a douchebag.
No, and Dylan Efron is like having a moment because of the Traitors.
Okay.
Because he is just like such a boy. He's giving 2008 Zac Efron. Like he's giving this like boy next door, like sweet, like honestly, their parents like really did that. Mr. and Mrs. Efron, thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Well, I'm glad that I know now that that's Zac Efron's brother.
Yeah.
I don't know. How many episodes of The Traitors are there right now? Like 7?
9.
No. Oh, okay. Okay. So I'm on 2.
You
I'll
know
catch
what?
up.
I think what really sold me on the Traitors too was like Traitors Twitter. Because
Oh, okay. I
there is
haven't.
a meme. There is a meme of the like Chuck E. Cheese character that's like a bird. And it's like Carolyn when people ask her who the Traitors are.
Shut up.
And-
Carolyn drives me insane.
I know, but like when I tell you
Her
that she
face-
looks exactly like this character, like this Chuck E. Cheese, it's so funny.
I need you to send me that. Put it on the screen. It's gonna go right
Yeah.
here. All right. So the big thing that I wanted to talk about, which if you don't watch reality TV, sorry that you had to sit through all of that to get to this. Maybe we'll put timestamps in the description so people
Yes.
can like skip the reality
Yes.
TV if they don't want it.
Yes.
What we really need to talk about is Severance.
Period. Another show that I started with episode 4.
Oh my God.
Are you serious?
I actually think I am serious.
What is wrong?
Well, I think that no, because my ex started it without me. And then
Okay.
I was like, what are you doing? Include me.
Mm-hmm.
So then I had to go back to the beginning.
Okay.
Yeah.
I see. So I actually didn't jump on the Severance train when the first season came out, which we've talked about.
Oh my God,
And
oh
you
my
said you
God.
had to wait like 3 years,
Yes.
right, for a new season.
Yes, because I don't know like the exact details, but it's like it was, I'm pretty sure it was filmed and written. I think production wrapped on season 1 before the pandemic.
Okay.
And then I think it was edited in the pandemic, so it came out maybe 2021.
Okay.
And then the writer's strike happened. We waited for the pandemic to finish.
Yeah.
Like there was just like delay after delay after delay of,
Yeah.
you know, getting. So it's so insane because like, as I describe it, it's like, this is like the rising action. And then the final episode of season 1 is like, boom.
Yeah.
Like
just like through the roof.
out of nowhere, that final episode. Because I tried to get him into it like a year ago.
Yeah.
And he could not make it through the first episode. And
Okay.
he was like, it's just slow, which like it is a little slow.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I was so excited for season 2. So I was like, you have to rewatch season 2. He was like, I'll do it. He wasn't doing it. And I was like, actually, I'm going to rewatch season 1 with you because I don't remember it.
Yeah.
Because I'm
It's
so
been so
sick
long.
of watching these. Like when I watched season 2 of Squid Game, I was like, I don't remember these characters. Like,
Yeah.
rewatched it. And then by the season 1 finale, he was like screaming at the
Yes.
TV. And he was like, that's so rude. And I was like, we've waited 3 years.
So Zach and I had never watched it. I knew season 2 was coming out. Honestly, I'll tell you what convinced me to watch it. And it was the like glass box activation that they did in Grand Central
So cool.
with like the actors basically performing
Yes.
a day in the office, but in a glass box
Love
in
it.
Grand Central Station. I was like, I should maybe watch this show.
Mm-hmm.
So that was, I think, like the week before it came out. And I was like, Zach, we should watch Severance. And he was like, okay. And so we started season 1 and I started at the beginning.
Oh my
What a
gosh,
shocking
shut your
revelation.
mouth. Yeah.
Who would do that? That's crazy. I didn't start with episode 5.
I notoriously struggle starting television shows though.
You have to start in the middle to get you interested.
But
is what it
also,
sounds like.
you need to shush your mouth because you tried to get me to just skip to season 2 of Bridgerton without season 1. And I said, no. I have to start with season 1. I have
Yeah.
to know who these characters are. So I don't need that.
It is in Bridgerton. There is a different story, but there is also a huge through line in all the seasons.
Yes.
So anyway, so Zach and I always do this thing where like we eat breakfast and we watch an episode of something, and then we like move on with
So
our
sweet.
day. And so we did like the first episode of Severance, And like, I want to say it was like the fourth day, maybe. We were like, yeah, we're just going to finish the show. And like, we just like watched.
I love it.
We just like didn't stop until
I
he
love
went
it.
to work. So I think we watched all of the first season in like 5 or 6 days, maybe. And then the new episode had premiered, like I think they did a 2 episode drop for the first, I don't remember. Anyway,
Okay.
we caught like all the way up. And then we were like, oh shit, we have to wait. So we actually didn't have to wait between the end of the cliffhanger of season 1 and season 2. We just like got to go right on.
Lucky ducky.
But okay, now that we know our history with the show, I would actually really like to talk about some of the theories.
Okay, great.
So we had already talked about this before this most recent week's episode. These are huge spoilers for Severance.
Yeah.
So
Skip
please
ahead
stop
if you
here
don't
if
listen.
you have not watched
Yeah.
it. We had already theorized, we had already talked about, you had seen it like online, the theory that Helly R was not Helly.
And that it was Helena.
And it was
Yeah.
Helena, which we got
was-
confirmation of this last episode.
Which, do you think that they wanted you to figure that out before? Like, do you think that they left enough clues?
I do, yeah.
So you don't think that they like...
It's not heavy-handed.
It wasn't
No,
heavy-handed, but...
that actress actually, I think, did a really, really good job of slowly transitioning, like, Helena, because like if you watch like this most recent episode, the difference between Helly and Helena is so stark, but I think she did such a good job
Yeah.
of making it a slow burn up
Right.
until this point
Right,
that there are a lot of people who maybe didn't notice, especially people who aren't, on Twitter or on Threads or on like Reddit or whatever, that aren't participating in like the conversation about it. I think there are a ton of people who might not have noticed.
I just wonder if I didn't know if I had ruined it for myself, like if discovering in that moment when it is finally officially revealed, if I would have. But I think that even in that episode, like as it goes on more and more, you're kind of like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
But it's just so funny because in the first episode, when they ask her like, what did you see up there? And she was like, oh, it was like a boring apartment. I was furious.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that character would never do that. Like, I just thought it was bad writing.
Yeah.
Silly me to not think that there
It's
was like
not her.
intention behind it and that it was,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Everything about that show is so intentional.
So intentional.
So one of my favorite discoveries in this most recent episode. So the last thing Irving says before Irving gets booted is, don't forget, hang in there. So hang in there, the poster, the whole, like that whole scene in the room where they're throwing his bereavement party.
Mm-hmm.
He has put the map essentially to the down elevator on the
Yeah.
back of this poster.
the directions, yeah.
Loved that little
good.
Easter egg. I love that Dylan figured it out. But here's my question. Do you think Dylan is going to do anything with that information? Because he put it back on the back of the poster and left the room. He did not take it with him. And right before that is when Milchick threatens to take away his family visitation privileges.
I think that he's just keeping it there for safekeeping. Like, I definitely think he will do something with it. I just think that there's a reason it was there and not at Irving's desk.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that he was like, clearly this was here for a reason. Like, I need to like put it back.
See, I connected the dots of like him being threatened, him finding this thing that could continue to get them in trouble and being like, I'm not going to deal with that. That's the way I interpreted it.
Oh,
because,
interesting.
and especially because Milchick is like cracking down on them now. I can see a world in which we don't get the payoff from that for multiple episodes. Like, I'm wondering if Dylan might avoid that for a while.
Dylan also, though, has like a photographic memory, because do you remember when he was quoting the book and then he finishes the quote and he's like, page 137?
Yeah, he does have a really good memory, so he
I
might
think
not have even. And
he might go back and like
remembered
memorize it because
the
it was like right,
instructions
left, right,
for the overtime contingency
Yes.
thing. He remembered those instructions.
Yeah.
That's very true. He could have just memorized it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
I think the thing that I didn't realize till season 2 is like, I truly thought whatever they were doing at the computers was not real. I thought that the whole point of the show was that every department was like just doing busy work that didn't actually matter.
Okay.
But I guess that it does. Like they are
So
actually doing
If
something.
it didn't matter, what did you think it was? Like a social experiment?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I thought that they were just I thought that that the point of Lumen is just to figure out the severance procedure, and so they just like are keeping them busy to I
see.
didn't think that they were actually like
doing
using
work.
them as slave labor.
I see.
You know?
Yeah.
But and that's why I was always confused by that one scene when she is like afraid of the number. I was like, what is that?
Yeah.
But I wasn't giving that much attention. But clearly some people are still missing some stuff because we watched the making of the episode. And every time Irving started to fall asleep and like he would see black like
The goo,
dripping.
which is so funny to me. And when I texted you guys, I was like, I don't know, because we got that even before we watched the making of the episode. So like, there are still people who were like, oh, I wonder what the black goo is. And I'm like, the black goo is the paint. Like that's
And
the
I
whole
got that
point.
in season 1 when he was painting.
Yeah.
I was like,
as soon as they started showing him painting, I was like, oh, that's what the goo is. I didn't put 2 and 2 together though, that his Audi was doing it on
Yes.
purpose.
like sleep
Deprivation, so he would have these dreams about this door. Like I
Yeah.
didn't put that together, but I did put together that the black goo was the paint.
Yeah.
I think it's really interesting, and I'm wondering if or when we're gonna find out why he stopped. Because if you think about it, in the past few episodes, Irving hasn't really had any like dozing moments. It's been a minute, right?
Well, it seems like they were severed for like a whole weekend,
Yeah.
right, with the retreat.
Well, I mean, previous
Yeah.
to that, though, when's the last time?
I don't think that a lot of time had passed. Like, I don't. Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question.
Also, like, why was Irving?
Yeah, like clearly Irving is doing something on the outside. Like
Like trying to infiltrate or something.
Yeah, so I saw a theory that he works for like a competing company. I guess there's something that somebody like took a screenshot of that's like in a handbook or something that basically lists that there is another company who is also working on this like Severance type project. So I did see someone theorizing that he is potentially like a mole from this other company who has been like sent in to like, I don't know, like corrupt Lumen's data. I don't know. But I thought that I think it's going to be really interesting to find out who Irving is on the outside and why he wanted his innie to get that information.
And why
Yeah.
has he been to the expert's hallway?
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? Like,
Why has he been there?
that is.
Well,
Yes.
I think that they all know what that. I think all of the Audis know what that is because I think that that is the last thing you do before you get the severance surgery.
But when we saw Helena get the severance surgery, we didn't see that door.
But she's an Egan.
The
I think
first
she had
time
a
we saw
different-
that door was when they sent Gemma down and told everybody she retired or whatever it was.
Oh, interesting. That's
Yeah.
a good point. Yeah.
The door feels very nefarious. The door does not feel like that elevator to me feels very nefarious, not like something that they would, because the only other time we've seen a hallway like that that's very narrow, very dark, and very long is the old break room when they used to
Yeah.
literally torture them.
That's true. That's true.
So, yeah. So, like, do you have, because I know I have a theory. Do you have any theories or ideas about, like, what you think the purpose of all of this is? Like, why are they doing this? What is MDR doing? Like, do you have any thoughts on that?
So I do now think that the entire purpose of Lumen is to resurrect the dead.
Yeah.
I do think that that is like the overarching goal of the company, which would explain like the cultish vibe. It's clearly referencing religious aspects, right? And the whole thing about like it would be the greatest thing that humans have ever achieved.
That line
Like,
was very telling to me.
And the like, you know, there is just something about the brain, and you know, it just seems like that is the ultimate goal of Lumen. And also because there was a video we watched that there's like an Easter egg on one of the fridges about resurrection. So I think that that's like the ultimate goal. I don't know like what the immediate, I have no idea what Cold Harbor is. I also am confused about the whole like, he's almost done 81% because I'm like, but they've been doing this for a while and they've been meeting their quota for a while. So I'm like, what is he going to be almost done with? I'm like confused.
Yeah.
It would also make more sense to me if there was only zeros and ones.
Okay.
In the numbers,
like if it was like binary code.
Because then it would be some sort of coding or software,
right?
But like the multiple number, like is every single digit, right? It's 0 through 9. Yeah. So I just don't know. I don't know what is.
So I think the Cold Harbor file is Gemma. I think that the Cold Harbor file is essentially they're making Mark reconstruct her consciousness, is what I think. His wife. Because I think it was episode 4. I don't know. There's like a sequence right at the end that like flashes a bunch of stuff on the computer. And I went back and paused it because it's the Cold Harbor. Oh, you okay?
Yeah.
It's the Cold Harbor file, but not in the way that we normally see it on Mark's computer. And so I went back and paused it, and it's Cold Harbor. It has like all of the little boxes at the bottom with Gemma's picture and what looks like vitals, like a vitals monitor. So my theory is Cold Harbor is essentially him using his knowledge of his wife to subconsciously reconstruct her consciousness to bring back Gemma. Or to bring back, to clone. I'm not
It's
sure.
almost like maybe she did die and then they're using her as the experiment to resurrect her or something like that.
That's what I'm thinking.
I'm just confused why Helena. So what's interesting to me about her character now is that she's clearly really like bought into the cult of it, like the religious aspect of the cult. Because remember, there's like really creepy scene where she like sings the like hymn.
Wait, Helena? Or are you talking about Miss Cobell?
Sorry, what did I say?
You said Helena.
Oh,
but you mean Miss
And
Cobell,
then Miss
Patricia
Cobell.
Arquette's character.
Yes, Patricia Arquette. And I'm like, why? There were all those things of like, oh, you know, Scott's going to get an extra wellness thing today. And I'm like, why were you working overtime to like bring them together?
Mark
And Gemma when they're severed.
Miss Casey. Yeah.
Like,
well, and see, that's
really
what that's what
why
I think. My theory with that is that they're essentially testing him to see if he I don't know if it's recognizes her, would fall in love with her again, even though they're severed and don't know each other. I think that's a social experiment part of it. I think there's a lot more going on than just like the Cold Harbor file. But clearly Mark is very important. And like Cobell is obsessed with him. Otherwise, why would she live next door? Right? Like even going back to the very first season.
Sort of chosen.
Yeah. Like going back to the very first season, she's intentionally putting her garbage cans where his are supposed to go so that he will be forced to contact her. Why? Like, and also, when are we getting Miss Cobell back? Because she's been gone for a few episodes and she is in the opening credits sequence. Yeah. So she's got to come back at some point.
I'm also wondering if Mark is an Egan as well.
So I don't know if I think Mark is an Egan. I think the brother-in-law is an Egan.
Oh.
The writer. Why do they have that fat ass house? Like it's giving Nepo baby. Yeah. Also, he has blue eyes, and from what we've seen, all of the Egans have blue eyes.
That's the shit that you pick up on. I will say, watching Severance with you, because we're having Severance parties now with Kaylin and Zach, and you were like, like the hang in there poster, you're like, that was the last thing that Irving said. And I was like, your brain. I was the one that like I said, when I saw Wicked for the first time and it gets to act 2 and he like pulls out the green vial and I was like, what? Like not picking up what they're laying down at all.
From like the opening of the show, they tell you that's who it is.
I never see shit coming at all.
Yeah. So all of the Egans have blue eyes. And the brother-in-law, I can't remember his name right now, the author, has blue eyes. And they also live in this like fat ass house.
Yeah.
And I thought the shift from who we've seen him to be to her going, but this isn't you. Like, this feels like you're selling out. The shift of him going, well, like, the fiscal opportunity is just one that I don't think I can turn down. Like, that felt so different to me.
It's almost like everything that he had written prior. Business, anti.
Yes, it's all about self-empowerment and self-enlightenment.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say, I just hope that I didn't think season 1 was slow. I was really, really invested. I find season 2 to be a little slow. And I only say slow is not even really the right word. I enjoy really being like locked in. I'm more just like, you continue to build this world and I need the fucking answers.
Yeah.
So like, I just cannot have them keep bringing up things,
Like new things.
and not answering the questions.
Because there really are so many questions right now.
So,
like
the goats.
The
like,
goats.
Hello?
What is happening with the goats? Miss Wong. What's happening with her? It's not just the brother-in-law. The brother-in-law is a question for me, but I think the bigger question is, why are they friends with Natalie? Why do they know her? Like, other than the fact that like she came in and was like, oh, like we would like you to write this book, like, because wasn't she at their like baby shower party thingy?
No, I think that she came over and like introduced herself, like, I work for Lumen and we read this book and whatever. I don't think that it was like
that they like knew her prior.
No, but I think that there's maybe like some affair. Yeah. There's clearly some marital.
Oh, I think they're setting it up for an affair for sure.
Yeah,
which also like, to me, like putting together the strings of like him being an Egan, I think I kind of think of it as like, he either left the family or was shunned by the family for whatever reason. And to what Connor was saying, wrote these books, like these, pieces of quote unquote literature as like a fuck you to the family of like, I'm going to be all about self-empowerment and like you are your own God type of thing. And like very anti-Kier. But then when he finds out that like his family actually wants him to do this thing and to be in service of Lumen, that's why he bites on the opportunity, because it's like, oh, my family will finally accept me this way, right? Like, I finally gotten their attention, so now I'm going to be welcomed back in with open arms, right? Miss Cobell, what has happened with her, first and foremost? Second of all, why is she obsessed with Mark? Who died? Because remember we saw that thing with like the hospital bracelet and like there was like a tube or whatnot on her like altar for Kier.
Yeah.
So that's also like, who was that? Why is she so invested in this? Like, and what's going on?
Is Kier dead or alive?
Dead, I believe. Yeah.
Kier is like the original.
Oh my God.
That's who they want to bring back.
I think that's who they want to bring back. The whole story that they told in the Ordbo episode of like Kier going to this cave and like killing his twin.
Right.
That's not a real person. That's like the first instance of Severance.
Yes.
Right? Like that's what we agree. Like that's what we think. Like,
I never thought about that.
His twin was not a real person. Like, to me, that's the way I interpreted it. Was like, this is the first instance of Severance. Those when he's talking about like basically masturbating and like fucking the ground or whatever it was, like all these things that he did that were super negative.
Yeah, I totally picked up on that.
Those are the negative parts of himself that he was severing.
Yes, that was the original.
That was the original idea of Severance, is how I understood that parable. So then, like, Are we gonna? So we're bringing Kier back. Like, there's so many
Also,
questions.
I'm also really fascinated in like Helena's relationship with like her dad.
Uh-huh.
Like that seems like really fucked and
Real
weird.
weird.
Like yeah, super super weird. And then
And
he
he-
called her that. He said that really weird 2 words, like something poppet or
a
like
fetid moppet is what he
Yes.
called her.
And
He
I
called
like-
her a fetid moppet,
yeah, it was really
which is very
weird.
like very weird.
Yeah, and I'm like, is she really on board with Lumen or does she have her own agenda?
Yeah.
And who is the like bodyguard guy?
Uh-huh.
Is he also an Egan? Because then he said our father.
Uh-huh. Or is that just like a Jesus our Father?
Yeah, right,
You know,
right,
like
right,
it's
right.
very interesting. And also with the dad says shit. I should have written it down. The dad says something. It's so specific. He says something like "my great return" or something like that. Or the anyway, I'll find it later.
Also, how old is this company?
I don't know.
Yeah.
Also, like, why do they have all of this crazy ass technology, but they all drive cars from the 80s? Everybody on the outside drives cars from the
Yeah,
80s.
yeah.
The computers that they're using inside Lumen are very old.
Also, the
like,
cell phone that Petey had was like
Yes.
a flip phone.
Like the
Motorola.
juxtaposition of technologies is very interesting to
Very
me.
stylistically
Also, have we
intentional.
seen a season other than Winter?
No. Yeah. You know why I didn't clock that as being odd? Because, you know, we also have only seen Winter, The Real Housewives of Salt Lake.
I mean, that's very true. They only film in the winter on Real Housewives. What would I Google to find out what her dad said? One day you'll sit with me at my revolving. Which I heard revolving and I was like, oh, they're going to like reincarnate this man. Like they're going to, which I think supports.
Yeah.
Yes, which I think that supports the theory that they're trying to essentially manufacture immortality utilizing technology. Yeah.
I love though watching like a show like Lost wrote a great pilot and then spent the rest of the series deciding what it was, which that's not a read. It's just literally that's just true. Like they came up with that idea actually like at a Disneyland conference.
Oh, that's funny.
At California Adventure,
Yeah.
like for ABC execs and some guys were like, what if like there was a plane crash or whatever?
Yeah.
Whereas this, I'm like, oh, you have this whole thing figured out.
Yeah.
Like there is no like we're gonna throw this in and like decide what it means later.
Completely different tone, but like very similar to The Good Place in that like they started it. Have you guys ever watched The Good Place?
I need to.
It's very good. They started it and they always knew they were only doing 5 seasons. Like they had the whole thing planned
amazing.
out from the beginning. So like everything about it is very intentional. I feel like this show is that as well. That
Right.
like I think they know exactly where it's going to end up. And they started it with that intention. And I think that like by the time we get to the end of whatever the last season of this is, there will still be payoff from season 1.
Yeah, yeah.
But I
100%.
do agree with you. I would love to start getting some answers soon. The Helly being Helena was like, yes, like that's okay, cool. Like we got an answer to that because it was a theory. But like, I do agree with you. I would like to start getting some more answers.
Because even like when Irving like walked into the woods and then like the episode ended, I was like, what happened? Did they flip you to your other person? Did you collapse on the floor? Like, is now your severed self dead? Is like when they flip the switch, you're dead?
Well,
You know what I mean? Like
I think that there's like, I don't know what they would call it, but I think that there is like a blackout option. Because remember, like, they all just woke up in snow. And like, I think it would be really, I don't know, I just think it would be really weird for their Audis to be like, okay, cool, like and their Audis have no idea where they went. Remember? Like, when Mark is having the conversation with his sister, she's like, how was the weekend? And he's like, I don't know, I guess it was good. So like, even he has no clue. The Audis have no clue what they did in the Ortbo. So what happened in between? I think there has to be some sort of like blackout option where they just like in a coma kind of status and they can like move them. Or I saw somebody on Reddit that was like, I think there's a third that they don't know about. Which would be
and now it's giving
insane.
like Horcrux. Like how many times can you
be
sever
severed?
brain? Right.
Which honestly could tie in with the cloning theory and go back to the goats, because it's like, how many times could you clone somebody and put different slices of their personality in each?
Yeah.
And like chisel away at all the things that you don't like about them to create an ideal specimen.
Damn.
Insane.
Yeah, it's really crazy.
Oh, wait, I have to tell everybody. So we named our group chat.
Oh my gosh.
You have to put this picture up on the video.
I will.
And for those of you who are just listening, I'll try to remember to put it on Instagram. I named our group chat the Cold Harbor Cuties. That was a collective name. I think you came up with it.
I think it was me.
You did? We all decided that was the one. Or it was either going to be What the Helly,
Yeah.
which was also very good. It could change later. Who knows?
It could.
Currently, we're the Cold Harbor Cuties, and this is our group photo.
It's so good.
Here, I'm going to show it to the camera, but also I'll just have Jacob put it on the screen. My incredible Photoshop
It
skills.
is so fun. I'm obsessed.
So that's us.
Yeah.
MDR. Look at us go.
Well, listen, please let us know all your thoughts on all of these shows if you watch,
Yeah.
or if there's another show you're watching that's currently airing that you think we would like.
Yes. If there's something that's happening or something that's on TV that you think would be up our alley, let us know.
Because now that Salt Lake is over, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm so sad.
Salt Lake is over and we're halfway through the season of Severance. So
Yeah.
in a month. Yeah.
And the Traitors.
In a month, we're not going to have any TV to
And I
watch.
have nothing.
I have nothing.
Literally.
Nothing.
Uh,
Shh, that's a secret, Connor. Oh my God. Spoilers.
Oh my
okay.
gosh.
Thank you all for listening and watching.
Yeah.
Just a reminder, we've been talking for an hour and a half. We're the Childless Millennials.
Yeah, period. We're the childless millennials.
Let us know what TV we should watch next, and we'll see you next time.
Happy birthday to you.
Are we saying Bob or Robert? The Childless Millennials is a podcast hosted by Jacob Heron and Kaylin Kelly. The show is produced by Connor Warren Smith with music by Connor Warren Smith.